What's going on, everybody, and welcome to this Monday's edition of Monday Night Quarterback here on Bama Football on YouTube with the coaches, myself, Coach Smook, with Coach Jared at Jansen Sports and Coach Sean from Huntsville. What's going on, fellas? How are y'all feeling tonight? Starting with Coach Day, how you feeling tonight, man? Roll Tide.
I'm not feeling good right now. Obviously, my Bills coming off of a very hard loss in the morning. I still can't get over that. The only thing that can salvage that is obviously Bama's win against A&M. But overall wise, I'm not doing that good. I'm not doing great.
We
Not doing
got the
great at all.
hotline number ready for you, brother. We got the hotline number ready for you. Man, what's going on, Coach Sean? How you feeling tonight, brother?
I'm feeling all right, man. You know me, man, pessimist by nature. What's my
Yeah.
old saying? Truth is in the details. So I'm all right, man. I'm good, blessed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, shout out to the fans that's been in the chat waiting for this show. I saw a comment before the show started. He said they been had it. They just need time to wake the beast. Some of our fans live to stir things up, following the process for years, and each year it has worked. Why start doubting it? Hey, man, we had reason to doubt. They was giving us reason to doubt now, or having given us reason to present logical questioning. That's what we'll call it. Logical questioning. You know, shout out to my guy C Bama Roll, Ty Road. And then we also got a new member on the channel, DCC, became a YouTube member here on the Bama Football on YouTube, man. We appreciate you. Shouts out to you for that.
Shout
And
out
all
DC.
yeah, shout out to everybody. Bob Rutherford is in the chat. What's going on, Bob? Roll Tide, James Knox, longtime viewer. He says Tony Holmes, the process is about every day in and out prep. Execute, adjust, execute from Coach Saban down. It works. It's the work that leads these kids to whatever destination they achieve as a team. Hey, that sounds like something I need to put in the football Bible or something, don't it? Shout out to Thomas Pemberton, Duke to go 2020 back in the house, man. What's good, man? And yeah, man, just everybody coming in. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you're sharing the stream. We're going to jump right into it. Final reactions from the Texas A&M, the win over Texas A&M on the road at Kyle Field in a hostile environment, sloppy game, most want to say. And, you know, I can definitely agree with that. But we came away with the win. Coach Sean, initial final reactions, man.
Roll Tide to Mary Sanders. Roll Tide back at you. My final reaction is I'm satisfied with the win. Jalen probably played his best game. To me, the offensive line, as far as a pass pro, uh, I think he had more time in this game than he's probably had I've seen all season. Obviously, I see the things that I would love to clean up, so I can't stay happy too long about the things that they did well. But I'm proud. I'm proud. I think that this team, the way they played us on defense, was not going to allow us to run the ball. You know, the pressure they brought was going to be extremely tough. The run blitzes they ran, it was going to be extremely tough to run the ball. But I think we ran it just enough to keep their secondary honest, keep their secondary playing the coverages they were playing. So while it's always something to clean up, I'm satisfied with the win.
All right, Coach Jay, take it away, man. How's it? Final reactions from the Texas A&M game?
I'm just glad we got the win. I'm just glad we got the win against a tough opponent. We knew that Kyle Field was going to be a very hostile environment. I'm just glad that Jalen Merrill. I mean, this was the first one. This was a game that Jalen Merrill had to win with his arm. We could not run the football at all. They did a really good job against us in the trenches. And you know, Jalen Merrill stepped up to the plate and helped us win this game. Defensively, we keep getting better. We keep getting better defensively. It's now it's the interior pass rush that's starting to become a lot more consistent. It's a great sign when you can make an argument that our weak link was Kool-Aid. That's a great sign right there. So no, I'm excited what happens with the future. I just, again, we now know that we're capable of winning it through the air, and now we just got to, be more consistent. Like Coach Sean said, clean some things up, and hopefully we can fix that against Arkansas.
Yes, sir. And just to coincide with what my panelist said, man, that is one of those things where you just live with the win at that point. This team faced a lot of adversity in this game, a lot of mental errors that you don't want to see going forward, a lot of things that you don't expect from a team that says they're hungry. But they showed that resilience. They showed that that fight, that will that you want to see in a younger team that's just steadily progressing in the right direction. So I just want to shout out to the Alabama football players and the team, the staff, they were in hostile territory, as you said, Coach Jay. And to do that, it's a big game, big conference game on the road. Come out of there with the win. In that type of fashion with the amount of adversity. Like I said, adversity was a key thing that I said would be important for us to be able to overcome in this game. And if we didn't get an early start in the run game, we definitely were going to experience some adversity. And Jalen Milroe handled it, as about as best as you would expect. We didn't see the same quarterback from last year show up to this game. And he did this in hostile territory with all the penalties, all the pre-snap things that were out of his control. And he maintained and led this team to a victory. Before we jump into, moving forward, because I think our post-game show, and I think the chat will agree, the post-game show, it was one of those where we let you all give it to us. We gave it to you all. And I think we came to a big understanding that this team is good, but we have a lot of work to do. And we're gonna discuss some of those things and, give our takes on what we see going forward. But let's check this out, y'all. Let's look at some of these stats, because a big narrative last week was that Jalen Milroe could not put the ball in the air. That was a big narrative in the game coming out of the game last week. And you look at the stats here, 21-33, and these are just the baseline box score stats. We're going to look at those. 21-33, 9.7 average per pass, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And the interception, I know Coach Sean can definitely break that one down. Not a bad read, just indecisive yes. on the release. So talk about these stats, Coach Jay, real quick. When it comes to the pass game, even talk about Max Johnson, because I felt like we were able to cause enough pressure. This is a deceptive number. That 239 is very deceptive of what that game.
Yeah, it's a lack of context. Very, very lack of context. Max, a lot of their completed passes was again, some of it we were out of position, but some of it was just some of the freakiest type plays where we were already there, we were already establishing pressure, and it was just some of the wonkiest throws you'll see. And, for the most part, we just didn't do a good job making plays on the ball. And then, of course, yards after catch, Kool-Aid came in. Again, the notable one was with Nia Smith, where Kool-Aid decided to go for a strip instead of making the tackle. And then it ended up being 20 more extra yards. And they almost scored a touchdown, which could have changed the entire momentum of the game. So it's a lack of context. Max Johnson was not good. He just was not good at all. He did not impress me. And I know a lot of A&M fans will make the excuses of saying, well, Connor Weigman was out. But just a week prior, they kept saying, oh, Max Johnson's a better fit than Connor Weigman is. Connor is more durable, and Connor is more immobile. But Max Johnson fits this offense more with Bobby Petrino. Well, now all of a sudden they lost. Now they want to make excuses saying, well, Connor Weigman would have won this game if he was in there. So it's just, we got to, it is what it is in that aspect. But Jalen Milroe outplayed Connor Weigman. He made more impactful plays. He made more accurate throws, especially beyond 15 yards. We talked about that before with Coach Smoot. So we got to give credit where credit is due with Jalen Milroe. Now, there's some things he's got to clean up, right? We'll get into that. Just some things he's definitely got to clean up. But overall wise, he outperformed Max Johnson, and that's what you need, right? The biggest question going into this game was, can if our running game is stopped, what's your plan? What's plan B? Can you win with the arm? And I think the answer is yes, you can win this game with your arm. And think about this for a second. Take away the snap, the infractions or the false start calls, which all 3 of their scoring drives, or really all 4 of their scoring drives, were because we were in third in manageable situations. It was 3rd and 3, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 5, and then a false start or a snap infraction call would happen, and we were put in a 3rd and long type situation, making it hard for our offense and Ty Maurice to call the direct plays that can lead us to success. Imagine if we would have got those first downs. Imagine if we would have get those false start calls. We would have made, at worst case scenario, we would have made A&M work the length of the field, which was around 70-80 yards, potentially, maybe who knows, maybe even more than that, the way that Will Riker was punting the football. And who knows, A&M didn't score any touchdowns when it was beyond 65 yards. All their scores were short field advantages. So it goes back to kind of my point of last week that we got to stop putting our defense in bad situations. But overall wise, I thought Jalen Milroe did a really, really good job. And again, things we got to clean up going into Arkansas, but proud of him, proud of his development. And just like how Will was saying in the comments, the naysayers are nowhere to be found. There's no question that Jalen Milroe is our guy. Can't believe I'm even saying that to this point, but you already know there's still doubters out there.
Right. Coach Sean, I scrolled down the wide receiver room because Coach J just took it away with the QB. He's passionate about Jalen Milroe, just like all of us. And
I
this
am, yeah.
it was satisfying to see our rush, not satisfying to see our run game struggle, but to see the passing game thrive through his development. So these passing stats, Coach Sean, dive into them real quick and talk about just I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different receivers on this name. One the running back, one being the tight end, and the other 4 being receivers. Did you pay attention to the rotation in the game? And do you think this is some good stats to be in a game like we were, being in hostile territory and going up against the caliber of defense that we were facing? Talk about these stats for us in the
I
chat.
do. I think the stats, I think they're not misleading at all. I think it really is what it is. I knew going into this type of territory, this type of game, I knew that he was going to have to find a receiver and stick with him. And it's sort of like running back. You feed the hot hand. I wish we could have got Amari Black a little more involved. I know a couple times he was open. We had a couple receivers that was actually open and working their defensive back, working their man. But for the most part, with the stats that we have, 9, 7, 2, 1, I'm glad to see the ball being spread out like that. I'm glad to see that we did at least give a receiver a chance to feature him and give him a chance to eat a little bit, give him a chance to cook and work his man, find a weakness in the secondary and attack it. So I'm real happy about that. I think as we go forward, I think it'll get better. I think we'll get a chance to kind of spread the ball more evenly. But what I've noticed about this is we're rotating at wide receiver like up to 6, maybe 7 people.
That's
I
bad.
counted. So it's like we're running the ball more and you're rotating more receivers. So that's going to equal less
target
share, less opportunity, less target share. So that's going to be interesting going forward, especially with the different teams that we play here coming up. We're trying to squeeze a lot of people into that rotation. And it was interesting to see the way it unfolded. But I'm satisfied with spreading the ball around like that. I think that's when we're most dangerous. I am confident that going forward, maybe we'll target Jermaine Burton a little bit more. I like how he was playing. I liked his aggression. I like the fact that he was working his receiver. If you find a receiver, and Isaiah Bond as well, those guys probably have been our most 2 consistent wide receivers. And I'd like to see us feature them more along with Amari Black and Robbie Oots, if he could get him in there, and the running backs out the backfield. I think with that plethora of receivers, whether it be running back, tight end, or wide receiver, I think we'll be very successful going forward.
I'm right there with you, Sean. And just to piggyback off of everything you're saying, I'm starting to notice something with this rotation. And it's traditionally what Saban has done when he's had this many assets available, especially in the wide receiver room. We've always seen him kind of force the young guys into the rotation to kind of establish, some type of cohesiveness in that wide receiver room. When you talk about deep rotation, the type of coverages that you see, you want guys to be ready because we don't want another Jai Hall situation when you got a quarterback putting it on the dime and you're not catching the ball because you're not sure about what you're running. So I do see a difference in the intensity that these wide receivers are running their routes, the sureness that they have in their routes, their releases. I mean, across the board, man, I could just about run any pass play and show you. I could point out probably out of the 4 patterns, 2 or 3 of those patterns are going to be like perfect releases to where the DBs are really having to jump back and to catch up and get in phase, especially in the man coverage. I saw a lot of exposure in that A&M secondary when they would go to that zero coverage. Milroe just got to speed up that clock a little bit. But these reception numbers, I'm glad to see that there's like 2 featured guys in the wide receiver room. And you look at the average, man, these big catches by Knee Black. We know Jason McClellan had the big catch at the end of the game. Kobe Prentice had a big first down catch. It was a short, he had to win his route early and get open. Same with Malik Benson. All these catches were meaningful catches, and we know Jermaine Burton was probably the best of the game. Before we get off of the offense, guys, let's talk about this offensive line and this run game. I want y'all to take a look at something before we just dive into, our personal perspective on this offensive line. And I'm going to start with you, Coach Sean. But the run game, we ended up with 26 rushing attempts for 25 yards or something like that. They ended up totaling out like 26 or 28 rushing attempts for 25 yards, which on paper, you would look at that and be like, wow, they really shut our run game down. But what people forget to realize is when a quarterback takes a sack, right? And I'm a big screen this. No, we're gonna leave it like this. But when a quarterback takes a sack, they count that as a rushing attempt. So you factor in the 6 sacks taken by Jalen Milroe. I know one of them was for 12 yards, one of them was for 11. The other 2 were for 8 or less or something like that. And then the 5th and 6th one were like literally 2-yard, 1-yard gains. So losses. So you factor in all those losses, and this offense, you take away those losses, and this running game was not horrible. You know, they're right there at the 50-yard rushing mark against a defense that has the number 3 rated rush defense in the nation. So Coach Sean, with the offensive line, where did you see improvement, and where did you see, some weaknesses that, are continuing to show their head? But, what's your whole feel about how this run game in the offensive line is coming together?
As far as pass protection, I don't really believe against a team that has a defensive front like that and a team that brings pressure with that many people. I don't think you can really ask much more of them, considering how we played in pass pro all season. These guys gave Jalen Milroe time, man.
Yes.
Sometimes he just held the ball too long. He missed a couple of intermediate routes. It's okay, you know what I mean? But as far as pass pro, I wasn't upset with them. You know what I mean? As far as the run game, again, with a defensive front like this, that run blitz like they do, that play this style of defense that was not going to allow us to run the ball. A lot of times it's scheme verse. So you have to understand, a lot of times it's not that you can't run the ball. It's just this team focused on, let's take away this part. Let's take away this part of their offense to make them beat us this way. And that's exactly what happened. So, you got to really factor in scheme and factor in what Texas A&M was doing. And again, like we said, the really simplified, pass pro run game, 5 offensive linemen can't block 7 people. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And that's even if the personnel is 2 tight ends and the tight ends don't stay in the block. So you really got to factor in the scheme and how Texas A&M played us. I think that's part of the reason why Jalen had the opportunities to be successful in the pass game. Because remember, if you commit that many personnel to the line of scrimmage, then on the back end you're gonna be kind of alone. You're gonna be kind of in man coverage and things of that nature. There's gonna be some opportunities there.
Yes.
So they picked their poison how they wanted to play us. So I was satisfied, man. That's really all you can do at that point is run the ball to try to keep them honest. And when you factor in the sacks, I'm not dissatisfied with it at all.
At all. And that's one thing I'm glad you highlighted it. Before I pass it to you, Coach Jay. A&M, they came in and they stuck to their guns on the defensive side. Yep. They refused to give up any type of run game. Quarterback implemented. I think we had one quarterback run, and I think we saw how they were committing to that. The read option, we saw it fail all 3 times. They were committed to it. There was nothing there. Even though those plays did not end up in negative yards, they didn't end up in, ahead of the stick yardage. I think the average on the read option play was a 0.46 yards or something like that. So that's
Look
not a read option.
Said. Look what Donna said, Coach Jay.
Some of the sacks were on Milroe. That's what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, 100%. The first 3 clearly were on Milroe. I mean, he started the first sack was on him like it was when he started the game against Mississippi State. And you would think that clock would be kind of sped up. You wouldn't. But I will say this about Milroe. When he takes the sacks, I could see at the last second what he's looking for. My thing is stop waiting for it to open up and throw it open. Go ahead and lead the guy. If they're breaking to the sideline for it, don't wait for them to get to the sideline. Throw them to the spot on the sideline. So, work on that timing and he'll be just fine. Another thing highlighted, Coach Sean, you said about just how reactive the offensive line was becoming to their blitz. You can't ask for better protection.
It's a fact.
And one thing about these running backs, they weren't as effective in the run game as we wanted them to be, but they were definitely effective in pass pro.
Yeah.
Coach Jay, take it away, man. How do you feel about, we looking at the stats, how do you feel about offensive line development? Give me your thoughts, man, before we jump over to the defensive side.
I actually thought, you know what's funny? I think pass pro was actually solid. I know people will take away the 6 sacks, but I think when they rushed 4, I thought we did a really, really good job of kind of mitigating that and really neutralizing that because Jalen Merrill had a lot of time in that pocket. It's just for the most part is Jalen Merrill. He's got to do a better job of identifying the blitzes because it's bad when Rodell Williams is literally pointing. We talked about this on Saturday, but Rodell Williams is pointing exactly where the blitz is coming from, even touching him like, hey, you got to focus on that. They're coming from this particular angle. Receivers are pointing at it, and yet Jalen Merrill is still surprised by the blindside sack by Adrian Cooper. And Cooper had 3 sacks on the exact, 2 sacks because one of them was just more of a broken play contain, and then he got him. But 2 sacks literally was off the same exact play where whether if our running back or receivers identified exactly what's coming from. So he's just got to do a better job of staying focused. I don't think that he can't do it. I know he can do it. I've seen him do it before. He's got to do a better job of just kind of staying focused, not being too. Again, you're in Kyle Field. It's 100,000 people. They're screaming at you. I mean, we had 9 false start calls. You can make an argument because of that 12th man.
Yeah.
So it's difficult, but you got to do a better job at that. And then he's got to do a better job of identifying his checkdowns, man. 3 times, man, where Rodell or Jace or they're wide open in the check, wide open right down there. He's not able to see it because he's focused on the first read, and he's got to do a better job of going through those reads a little bit quicker than that. But no, you can't. Jace McKellen and Rodell Williams were really. This was probably their best game as far as pass pro. They made a lot of clutch plays, and it was to a point where because they knew exactly. They keep saying it over and over and over again. And A&M, they just kept sending it. They didn't hide it. They didn't try to mix some things up. They just kept either sending that delay blitz or that corner coming off the edge. And it was to a point where Jace, he knew exactly where it was coming from. And he stepped right in there before really kind of, seeing and visualizing exactly where there could be some other potential opportunities. He knew exactly where to be at the right times, at the right place. So, again, Jalen Merrill, some things to clean up. Obviously, he's got to do a better job at that. I think when he's going to take a look at the film work, he's going to kick himself because there were missed opportunities, especially Jalen Hill underneath 2 times, wide open because that wasn't his first primary read. But he'll get that. I have confidence that he's going to get it right.
Me too. And like you all said, and I see the chat, man, we're not bashing Merrill by any means. We're just identifying the obvious. And like I said, going forward for these next 3 big conference games, being at home at Bryant-Denny is going to help this kid so much, guys. We saw the same happen with Jalen Hurts. When he started getting those Heisman talks his freshman year, started getting that conversation, it was the games he had and on that, I think it was like a 3-game span of home games where his passing percentage was 70% or better. So I believe in home field advantage. It definitely played a factor this weekend in Kyle Field for Texas A&M. I could tell you that. And we could get into our feelings and talk about the refs home cooking and all that stuff, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But anyways, to jump to the defensive side, man, this defense, man, we asked this question last week, chat. We had asked this question last week. Let me edit it before I put it out there, man. And I want the chat to go crazy when we put this on the screen. Has the defense arrived? Which one of you guys want to take this first before we jump into the stats?
Go ahead, Coach Jay.
I mean, has the defense arrived, Coach Jay? Are we seeing the rebirth of the Reuben Foster, Dante Hightowers, the Javier Arenases, the Venison series, the Eddie Jacksons? Are we getting those back right now?
Man, listen, we're right around the corner store. Right around that. We're right around that corner store, dog. All those Huggies, right? All those Huggies and all, you know what I'm saying? Those Debbie cakes. We're right around that corner. We're almost there, man. I'm telling you. Listen. I think the game where I think I'm going to sit up here and say that we have officially arrived is LSU. I think the LSU game is going to be the one where I'm going to sit up here and say, okay, if we shut that offense down, I can't. I have nothing bad. I have nothing else to say. That defense has arrived, but we're still miles away from there. But I will say this: I love, because we can talk about defensive play and we can talk about schematics of how well Kevin Steele really called a good game. I'm going to tell you what really impressed me though was the attitude of these defensive players today, holding each other accountable. Man, I didn't even take a look at the fact that during the field goal block where Chris Braswell, that was called back because of a crappy call by the referees.
You see them snapping on Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, snapped on. I didn't even see that. Deontay, that is what I'm talking about. Holding players accountable. That is what we've been missing. That's not the only play, man. These guys are getting on each other. Malachi Moore, when it was during that delay route where Malachi Moore clearly pointed out exactly what was going on, but nobody picked up on it. No one just picked up on it, and Malachi went right to the sidelines. I forgot. I think it wasn't Jalen Key. It was somebody. I forgot who he went off of, but he went off on somebody.
Key and Marshall were supposed to be the guys that carry and pass that through. Key and Marshall were underneath.
He just went off on him, and I'm like, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Let's not do again. Nick Saban. We all know Nick Saban's going to do Nick Saban things, but you just can't keep relying on your coaching staff and Nick Saban to hold players accountable. Players got to hold other players accountable as well, and that is what I'm talking about, and that is what we've been seeing from this defense wise. I do think that this attitude is. We're definitely getting there, but defensively, they were great. They were the true reason why we won this game, because again, this was a game where their longest scoring drive was 62 yards. Always had to work with short field position, always constantly working with short field position, and they were forcing turnovers. They were making stops in crucial plays. They kept giving our offense opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to score. And yes, our offense, didn't take full advantage of it, but the defense did not let A&M win this game. Especially when they were in the red zone and goal line situations, they made the stops necessary. And everyone kept high. And again, just go back to A&M fans saying that, hey, our offensive line's not that good, but according to your statistic and the facts, you guys had a national top 10 offensive line unit, national top 10 offensive line unit, and they got stuffed. All these true freshmen, All-American crap got stuffed. Yes. And so I love what our defense is doing. I think the attitude is definitely back for sure. And I'm telling you, it's only going to be a matter of time. Only going to be a matter of time.
Yeah, man. Quick little left turn real quick. Ed Smoot, you owe Milroe an apology. 2 months ago, you were trashing his name and saying Simpson is hands down better than Milroe. Now you're acting as if you beloved in Milroe all along. I got some very faithful people that follow me on every podcast, and I can guarantee. And my boy, I seen Sean sit up for a second. He's trying to figure out where that. I'm lost. You must got another Coach Smoot in mind, because we all know. Still to this day, I still think Ty Simpson has the better arm talent. He's the better quarterback. Is he the best quarterback for this job right now? No. And we see that. We saw that. That's been my argument since day one. Ty Simpson it's never been a question who has the better arm, who has the better, vision or arm talent downfield. But Milroe has gotten the game reps now, and we see what game reps can do for a player when you allow them, when you design the offense around them. And that's what we're seeing. So I appreciate your comment, man. Appreciate the acknowledgement. But go back and listen to what I was saying, because I've never bashed Milroe. I'm definitely pro Milroe. Been pro Milroe since last year when he had to come against Arkansas. So, Coach Sean, defense reaction, man. I mean, Coach Jay, he talked about that the pass rush. Let's talk about the secondary. I want you to talk about the secondary, because you love to get on those guys, and my favorite player's back there. My guy, TA, he back there doing his thing. Lank, we in the building. You know what I'm saying? But talk about that secondary and the pass coverage in general, and how Kevin Steele and T. Robert are scheming this thing up, man.
First, let me address the young man who addressed you. I think you confused when Coach Smoot said he just would like to see Ty play early in the season. He never trashed Jalen Milroe. None of us did. We never trashed him at all. We just wanted to see a little bit more of Ty at the time when we were struggling. When nobody trashing Jalen Milroe, we definitely wouldn't. I promise
never
you that.
Never that. I'm
for the secondary, man.
That, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm satisfied with the secondary, man. I enjoyed how they played. I enjoyed the aggression, the passion. I love man coverage corners. I love corners that can play man. I love Terrion because he's versatile enough to play star, to come off the corner and go inside and play star. And you got to be a real good cover guy to play that position, man. And you got to understand the defense to play that position. That position can be really a position, if you don't play it well, you can be really picked on a lot at that spot. I'm excited about the secondary because if you can play, and remember, man, Texas A&M has some extremely fast, not the biggest guys, but very, very, very quick, very, very, very route precise guys that can take it to top off the defense and take it to the house at any given moment. So, Evan Stewart and the young man who said the stuff about Coach Saban, You know,
Nice
these
smell.
guys can run. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna
These
put the
guys.
stats up for you, brother.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna put the stats up for you.
Okay,
The
no
receiver
problem.
stats.
Look at that, man. So for the secondary to hold these guys like that, I mean, come on, man. What more can you say? And remember, guys, it's very, I ain't gonna say easy. I'm not gonna say easy, but it makes your job a lot easier to play in the secondary when the front seven is doing their job, when they're
Yes.
getting pressure on the quarterback. You know, the best corners in the country will tell you, if you leave me back there to cover too long, bad things happen. So for the front seven, the front five, the front four, whatever you want to call it, to make the quarterback's life a living, you know what? That makes the job easier. I'm really excited about Terrion, about Caleb Downs. Jalen Key had his moments, you know what I mean? Kool-Aid, I think, I think practice reps and film study is going to show Kool-Aid his small deficiencies. He didn't play a bad game at
Right.
all, but the body language is sort of weird to me with Kool-Aid at times. I don't really know what that's about right now, but I'm seeing teams for the last 2-3 weeks challenge him more. I remember early in the season and late last year, teams they didn't really throw at him that much at all, especially
Right.
early in this season. I'm seeing more and more teams throw at him. And it really shows you the confidence Terrion has. You can really tell when the light finally goes off on these guys, man, because they
Yeah.
start playing with confidence, boy.
Yes.
And so I'm excited about the secondary. I'm excited going forward because we're going to need those guys against Tennessee. We're going to need those guys against Arkansas. We're most certainly going to need those guys against those receivers for LSU. So
Yeah.
I'm praying that Malachi is okay. Everybody else say a prayer for that young man as well. I'm
Yes,
hoping.
sir.
I heard it was an ankle sprain, but I don't know if it's a low ankle sprain or high. So keep him in your prayers and hope he's okay. But as far as for today and our last game, I'm very, very, very excited about our secondary. That they are a strength, straight up.
Oh yeah, definitely being able to have that defensive front develop in front of them and the linebackers. I really think, like we said from the jump, we're going to have to be effective in the trenches for the defense to really showcase what they're able to do talent wise, and that's what we see happening. Tim Keenan, Jaheim Otis, Ja Latham, Braswell, all those guys that put their hands down in the ground. Tim Smith. Jahad Campbell walks down. You see him walking down on the inside blitzes, man. It's crazy these schemes that Steele is designing, and even the perimeter blitzes by the secondary have been effective. I saw Trey Amos, Terrion Arnold. I saw a safety blitz finally from Jalen Key. It didn't look pretty, but to see it was nice. To see that we're going back that way, and I see Caleb Downs being trusted with more assignments and him not struggling with those assignments. So this secondary is definitely a strength of our defense, but to highlight Terrion Arnold, to get thrown into that star position, probably the most important position in the secondary when you're talking about how Alabama schemes our defense and the way we set up the nickel set and the amount of communication that's required. It's good to know that you have that many leaders in your secondary to where you kind of have that balance of communication on each side with Kool-Aid and Terrion. So now he's in the middle of the defense. You're not losing much with coverage. You're not losing much in run support. And shouts out to Terrion Arnold for stepping up. And once again, Malachi Moore, prayers up for him. Hopefully it's one of these games where, we don't have to see him. Hopefully we can see where Christian Story and Jake Pope early game reps look like. I gave Christian Story a hard time about coming into that game, but that's a hard game to come into and just show up and show out. But it's Alabama, man. You got to be ready. But if he has to step up this week, I'm curious to see what that looks like. But yeah, just to look at these stats before we close this out and start talking about Arkansas, guys. 64 total tackles by this defense, man. Tim Keenan leading the way with 8 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 sack, and a tackle for loss. That guy is probably the key to this defense and the interior pass rush. Do y'all disagree?
No, that was awesome.
He is the main factor. I mean, like I said, when Jaheim Otis, when you have to put him kind of somewhere else, and he's starting to become way more effective. Yeah, Tim Keenan at that one, man, is just dominant. Just pure, just dominant from an interior pass rush. And it's something that we honestly haven't had since Christian Barmore was doing it. And for Darian Mathis was kind of, was in there a little bit more. But if Bama wants to win a national title, the one key area especially in our pass rushing unit, is coming from that one tech. And
Yes.
the quickness, the explosiveness, and that is something that we desperately need.
Think about the last time we were able to really win a national championship, not barely win it, but win it. Quentin Williams, right there in the center of that defense, and you had all those different big guys rotating around them, and
Mount Cody, Jesse Williams.
I mean, everybody.
Raekwon Davis.
Raekwon Davis, before they moved him out to the edge. I think he should have stayed inside too. But I'm just looking at these numbers, guys, and I highlighted a guy that we have been looking for all season. He shows up in probably the biggest game to this point.
Yeah.
Justin Igboebi showed up, and I just want to give him a shout out. His stats, they showed up. His stats were noticeable. All 5 of these tackles and that sack and the safety, those were big plays. Those were big plays. Those were effort plays. Those were motor plays, and I was glad to see that motor from him.
He straight up whipped that tackle, man. He whipped him, bro. It was awesome. Oh, shout out to TRVL Preneur Sports Podcast.
Yeah.
Shout
our boy in the chat, man. Hey,
home team. Shout out to you, bro.
Hey, we gotta talk to Brody, man. That dude, I'm rocking with your Travelpreneur. Hey, but check this out. Check this out. Not only that, man, on the pass rush, I think it was who came off the edge that play and threw Tim Smith. When he came off, when they did the stunt, and he stunt from the inside and came on the edge with the left tackle, and the way he threw the guy and then snatched Mac Johnson to him, I was like, man, the type of strength that they're displaying tonight is kind of scary. We look at the offensive line struggles that we saw. I don't know if you all been watching, but LSU, their offensive line is struggling. Jaden Daniels is phenomenal right now, the way that he's keeping that offense afloat. Who else? Arkansas, we saw their struggles. KJ Jefferson running for his life. He's built for it, but it's a different breed of ball when you taking them hits from Alabama. The way Jaheim Oatis diving over guys to make tackles is scary. And then who else we got on that schedule? LSU, Tennessee, Joe Milton. We know he's going to be risky. He doesn't mind taking hits. I see this defense trending upward. Coach Sean, you highlighted the pressure. 5 total sacks, and I want to say these 6 tackle for losses. I want to say this is a miscalculation because 2 of them, I think, well, one of them for sure because they got the grounding penalty. But yeah, definitely the action behind the line of scrimmage. Happy to see it.
Man, most definitely, especially with that team, because I was shocked that Texas A&M didn't give Daniel more. To me, while Le'Veon Moss was your thumper, the other guy was so quick. I was happy they didn't run him a lot. So yeah, to get anytime you can get penetration, that's good things, unless they're running screens and things of that nature. But yeah, I was exceptionally happy about that. I think that effort will help us going farther because this team we play Saturday is a little different.
Yeah.
A little more balanced and a little more quarterback is not as I don't know if KJ is as I know he's a much better athlete running. I don't know if he's got a gun as big as Mac Johnson. Mac Johnson can throw that thing if you allow him to.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I watched KJ several times. I watched the game. We're gonna need that penetration this week. I don't know if Rocket Sanders is healthy or not, but we definitely need that penetration against this team we coming up Saturday.
Yeah, and I like our matchup against Arkansas as we kind of segue into that. But before we go, Coach Jay, your son is out there getting interceptions.
Yes,
is
sir.
this his second or his third one for this season?
Who's that?
Caleb Downs, your son.
Oh yeah, Caleb Downs. I don't know. That's more your son. I ain't gonna lie, Malachi Moore is my boy, man. I love Caleb Downs to death, man. That's for you, dog.
You know me, man. I just love to see the true freshman out there shining. So, hey, chat, to get over to this game this week, we're jumping into the game, Alabama versus Arkansas this weekend, right? Arkansas at noon. That's 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. Guys, I'm so happy that this game is back at Bryant-Denny. One, being this game was a tough game, a physical game. One of those ones where, the crowd noise definitely was a factor. I'm more excited because we're at home and this team is trending upward in the right direction. Coach Sean, going into this game, give me a key factor from the offensive side. Then Coach Jay, you give me a key factor from the defensive side, and we'll just continue to dive into it as we continue to as we get ready to round this show out.
The key factor for us on offense, man, is first and foremost, first and absolute foremost, the pre-snap penalties. We got to get that cleaned up, man, because when you have that many penalties on any level, all you're doing is keeping the other team in the game in some facet. When you can't have that many pre-snap penalties, all you're doing is shooting yourself in the foot and keeping the other team in the game. So I would say before everything else, man, we got to get back focused. Those penalties that's the only thing that really helped Texas A&M out.
Mm-hmm.
We got to clean that up, man. What was it, 14 penalties?
Yeah, 14 for
14 for
99
99 yards.
I mean, there's no excuse, man. I understand. I get it. Hostile territory, hostile environment, hostile crowd. But sometimes it's just a matter of lack of focus, man. It's a matter of lack of focus. It's a matter of being complacent. It's a matter of resting on your laurels. We got to get back to being focused. We got to get back with the synergy that it takes to play whatever we having the issues with. And I think that we got to clean that up first. That should be the key factor on offense. We have got to get back focused and get rid of the penalties. I think if we get rid of the penalties, then we can settle down and play some football.
Right. Looking forward, Coach Jay, for this Arkansas game. What's the keys to us having a solid defensive game and just dominating, in your opinion?
Well, I keep saying this every single week. It needs to be our defensive line, but I'm going to go a little bit differently. I think as our linebackers just staying disciplined. There were a couple of times where once again they were out of position that we could have avoided some big plays. But I think for this team, linebackers have got to stay disciplined. This is an Arkansas team, like Coach Sean said, they're a little bit more balanced. I expect Rocket Sanders. I think his volume is going to go up a little bit more. Right, Rocket Sanders just as an all-purpose back is probably he's one of the best receiving backs if he's healthy in the country. They love to use him on screen plays, love to use him coming off the backfield, using him in the flat. Lethal in the wheel route, probably one of the best running backs as far as just running a wheel route that you're going to see because when he catches that ball in stride, he's 240 pounds, but he has legit 4.4 speed. So we got to stay so linebackers have got to be a little bit more disciplined, especially in the screen game. But I think besides that, we got to have the ability to contain KJ Jefferson because this offensive line has been bad. But KJ Jefferson, he's a big quarterback. I think he's around 240, 250 plus. He has that Cam Newton type of body, and
coach.
Yep. Just like what happened last year. I mean, there were times where we got the KJ Jefferson last year, and he was able to escape because just how big, just how big he was. So, overall wise, again, just play contain, play disciplined football. And I think if we just play the way that we've been playing all season long, I mean, this is an Arkansas offensive line that has been terrible, absolutely god awful all season long. And I definitely think that this is a big advantage, but it's just one of those situations where just don't underestimate them. Don't underestimate what KJ Jefferson, a lot of those skill position players can do. And don't create a lot of second chance opportunities. Do not create second chance opportunities because KJ is lethal enough where if you do give him chances, he's going to take full advantage of it.
Right. And I'm going to take it on the level of where the coaches are, offensively, I think we have to get back to the run game early, try to reestablish that. I don't see this defensive front being as effective as Texas A&M. I honestly don't see another defensive front like that on our schedule. Maybe we see a little resilience from that Auburn, and Tennessee has a few guys up front, but they're not explosive right now. They're not shutting down anybody else's run game, and I think our offensive line is trending up. So Tommy Rees definitely get back to putting Jalen Milroe in the run first mindset with this offense, getting those guys established in the trenches, and then allowing those wide receivers to cook, getting Jalen Milroe calm early. Defensively, Kevin, still continue to dial up the pressure and put your athletes in position to be athletes. Coach Sean, you highlighted it earlier in the season. We jumped right there behind you on the train of your players are going to play when they're allowed to play football, and that's sometimes it's just simplifying things and giving them assignments and sticking to your assignment. And I see that in those key moments of adjustments and this defense. So Kevin Steele goated hire for Nick Saban and his staff, this Alabama team, especially this defense. And I really want to say another great hire that we're kind of looking over that's going to play a big factor in this game is Robert Balla. and how this inside linebacker group is responding to his teaching and whatever he's receiving from Charlie Strong and Kevin Steele, in those meetings, or who, that whole staff is just full of veteran leadership and coaching. Robert Bala is those guys are taking to him and they're responding, and he's very active on that sideline. So that's a positive thing to see. Let's get into personnel. Where do you see our advantages on the offensive side, personnel wise? And when I ask that question to you guys, and either one of you can take it, where do you see us creating the most mismatches? Is it our 3 wide? Is it our 12 personnel, 13? Is it going to be the read option? What do you see being played into our favor early in this game that could separate us offensively?
Go ahead, Coach Jay.
I think it's our speed on the outside. I think that for the most part, watching that Ole Miss game and just or even the A&M game, they have a tough time handling with faster receivers on the outside. They're physical guys. These are guys that can be extremely physical, but for the most part, they have a very, very hard time of just dealing with overall pitch perfect speed. So I keep saying this, and I say this every week. I think that there has not been one team so far during the season that I can say has really completely just stuffed our receivers. And yes, people will go back and they'll look at the stats, but when you look at the film, you will see how many times receivers are wide open or our second, third reads. And again, I think that's just quarterback play. And I think that's all Jalen. I'm telling you, it's going to be a time where it's just a light bulb is just going to go off, and Milroe's just going to completely figure it out. He's going to see everything on the field. I'm telling you, it's only going to be a matter of time. And you start, and again, because I had a question from one of my A&M guys. He goes to Texas A&M. He's like, "Where the hell was this from Jermaine Burton all season?" I'm like, "I'm telling you, Jermaine Burton was just patient. His time. We all knew he had this, just had to wait." And Isaiah Bond, kind of the same thing. How Barstool A&M kept trolling him and saying that he's trash, and then he had to respond back and saying, "Oh, okay, well, 7 receptions, 96 yards," and I probably would have had way more. So no, we as far as depth goes, I think we have one of the deepest receiving cores in the country, definitely one of the most talented receiving cores. And I think what you're starting to see now is receivers are being patient. Receivers are biding their time. They've been run blocking extremely efficiently and effectively. Now it's time for them to shine. And I think this is an Arkansas secondary that has weaknesses. They're also, I believe they're also depleted as well. They don't really have as strong as they're not as deep as they were before. And I think that our receivers can take full advantage of it. And if this is going to be a game where Arkansas decides to say, you know what, we're going to play 6-7, we're going to crowd the box and once again make Miro throw the football, I think Jalen Miro is going to have another 300-yard or close to it type of performance, because our receivers are as far as they are a complete mismatch to every single one of those guys out there.
I will say this, and shout out to Ray Palm for the $2 super chat. He said, "Is Terrion draft eligible? We need him another year." I want to say he is a redshirt sophomore on the field, so yes, he's draft eligible.
Yeah, he's draft eligible.
And honestly, if he continues this style of play, I wouldn't mind losing Terrion and Kool-Aid this year. I wouldn't mind, because you secured your top end. Key's probably going again. Going to be going after this season. Probably not smart for him too, unless he starts trending up this game, Arkansas game. But if Key comes back and Downs coming back, Jake Pope going to be in that secondary. Tony Mitchell going to be in that secondary. Des Ricks, Earl Little, Jaleel Hurley, Antonio Kite. Like, guys, we're deep out there at the secondary. Then to think about the guys that's coming in this 24 class. So Mbakwe, I think, is going to be an early guy that gets some burn on the secondary, even though he's playing quarterback right now in high school. This kid is a baller. You won't be able to keep him off the field, and his maturity is there. But appreciate the $2 super chat, Coach Sean. Going into this this Arkansas game. Coach Jay covered the offensive side. Schematically, defensively, what do you feel like this defense, Kevin Steele, Coach Saban, and his defense need to do in the pass rush and also in the coverage scheme?
First, I think our defensive front has a chance to have a great success against their offensive line. I think our linebackers have to be extremely disciplined, because this kid, they'll do a lot of design runs with this guy. I have a small fear, a small concern, I'll say. I don't want to get us, win on the road at Texas A&M, and Tyler Brook were talking about how it was personal. Okay, cool. Put that in the review mirror. Let's get right back focused for this Arkansas team that nobody's picking to win. Lowly old Arkansas coming in here. They lost everybody. They almost beat Ole Miss, man. They was physical with Ole Miss. I think we can have some success in the defensive front against their offensive line. I really, really do. But, they got a good head coach, man. I know he struggled this year. The guy's been around football a long time. He's an old offensive lineman. So they're going to try to be physical. They could care less about how good our defensive is. They know one way of football. They're balanced. They'll run downhill at you. And like
Yes.
Coach Jay say, they'll hit you on the perimeter. They will. They'll try to wheel route you to death. So you can't take Arkansas. Exactly. Jarvis just said it. This Arkansas is a trap game for us. Everybody's so happy about Texas A&M. I'm seeing it on everybody's podcast. Put that thing in the rearview mirror, man.
Yeah,
Like
let it go.
today. Let it go because Arkansas is coming in here. We can't afford to lose another SEC, an SEC game.
You can't
Because
afford to
right
lose another
now,
game, period.
exactly,
you're done.
exactly, none, zero. So we need to really be sound. I think like I said, I think our defensive front will have success. Continue with that hunger. I think our middle linebackers are going to be busy this game.
Yes.
I think you'll see a lot of Trez Marshall, a lot of Jihad Campbell. I think you'll see all those guys, man, because KJ's a big boy. He's a big boy. He can throw. He can run. They'll try to pull out all the stops. Sam Pittman's desperate over there. They're going through some things over there, and their fans are not happy. It would absolutely make their day to come in here and play us close or even to win. So we really, really, really got to stick to our P's and Q's. I think I think our defense can have some success against this team. I think our secondary could have some success against their receivers with the pressure we put on KJ. KJ's been around a while. He's a savvy old vet, so I don't think he'll make the mistakes that Mac Johnson made. So we're gonna have to force this guy to make the mistakes. Max was just trying to make some plays. Young guy, he's been around, but not a full-time starter. He only started 6 games at LSU. So, but this kid has been around for a couple of years. He's been around for a couple of years. He's played Alabama. He understands what we want. The last time he saw us was with Pete Golding. We did a bunch of rush 3, drop 8, a bunch of that. And I seen when Ole Miss pressured him a lot, and at times they would drop 8, and he threw them a pick. He threw the ball right in the middle of the defense. So I think we can have some success with this guy. We just got to make sure that our knives are sharp. We don't go out there sleepwalking. We don't want to do nothing to kill ourselves and look up in the fourth quarter and we're in a fight that we don't need to be in. Go out and play well. I think our defense will have some success against these guys.
Name of the game: win your matchup, win your
Exactly.
play. That's it. If we win our play, if we go out there, we win every play. Matchup, win the play. This game should not be closed by the third quarter, guys. This Arkansas team is really, their culture is what's keeping them together right now. That coaching staff, their will, their leadership, that's what's keeping them together because they have a lot of missing pieces. They are young in a lot of spots. They are inexperienced in a lot of spots, and that plays to our advantage. Coach Sean, I'm surprised you didn't highlight this, man. Well, you did have to go with the defense, but I think to coincide with the defense, we saw it effective at A&M. The crowd has to be involved this game too, man. Coming off a big win against A&M, our crowd, our section in the A&M stadium was going crazy. I don't know if y'all seen some of the clips, all the taunting and all the, back and forth. It felt good to see that type of pride in the stands after a close game where we played sloppy, but you see fans just enjoying the win. Yeah, we had the ones whining and complaining, but it felt good to get a win in that type of environment. Coming into this home game, man, I don't see this team stumbling. I don't see our defense slowing down. I honestly see Kevin Steele dialing it up more, seeing that success that Ole Miss got in their pass rush.
So let me ask you guys some on the panel and the chat for that matter. Do you guys trust this team to go out and dominate Arkansas the way they're supposed to, or do you have a concern about this team?
I after seeing what I saw to end Ole Miss game, Mississippi State game, and this past game against A&M in that hostile territory, especially particularly in the Mississippi State and the A&M game, being on the road in those big conference matchups, and both of those are West opponents, guys. And a lot of these guys this is their first road experience, and that was the beginning of our gauntlet. That's nothing but momentum. So I'm not as concerned. The pre-snap penalties, I could see that being cleaned up at home. You're at home. You can get back to what you used to.
It's just penalties. I mean, for the most part, penalties, and just do not put your defense and your kicker, your Lou Groza award winning kicker, in a position in bad positions, because that's what we did against A&M. Like, we offensively, for the most part, there were time again. There was a lot of drives where we came off with 0 points because of pre-snap penalties. Like, imagine if we were just get inside the 35. You don't have to score touchdowns, but just get inside the 35. Will Reichert hasn't missed a kick yet. Put him in a position to succeed, and that game potentially we win that game potentially by 2.5, at least by 2.5 scores. So for this Arkansas game, in order for us to blow them away, just stop with the penalties, right? Again, Arkansas, they're a tough, scrappy team. They're a very, very scrappy team. They have nothing to lose at this point. So they're gonna fire. They're gonna fire. They're gonna give everything that they potentially have to upset us. Right? That's their job, is to stop us from going to the college football playoffs. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to talk a lot of trash. They're going to just like in the Ole Miss game, they got into a lot of people's faces. They don't care at this point. So for us, let's not buy into the BS. Stop with the penalties. Stop shooting ourselves in the foot in key drives when we could have got points off the board. And don't put your defense in a bad situation where they have to work a short length of the field. Make them work 70 plus yards down the field, 80 yards down the field. At least put your punter in a position, which again, we have to see what happens with burn up. But put your punter in a position where he can pin them deep and let your defense go to work. That's
what the chat saying,
against Texas. And we struggled
that's why I was about to hit. I'm looking at all these comments,
facts,
man.
Coach Jay. All facts, man.
He said, I seen one. They was talking about the defensive pressure. Yes, I trust this team. Justin Sumler, yes, I trust this team will dominate. Our team is focused on the next game, 1-0 every week. I like to hear those type of things, Justin. And like you said, like Coach Jay came on a couple weeks ago talking about Tyler Booker and how much he's talking. Let's see it on the field. These last 2 weeks, I've seen that type of mentality on the field. Has it been clean? No, but I see aggressive nature. I see, the intent on Joyless Murder Bar. I see intensity in the run game. He said, I'm not worried about this game. I'm concerned. Keena Bina says, I'm not worried about this game. I'm concerned. Nah, see, that's the wrong mentality.
Read that comment again, and that's what I'm saying right there.
Yes.
Keena Bina, shout out to you, but that is what I'm talking about. We don't even let LSU enter your brain right now. Don't even let them. Yeah, that's 2 games away. Don't even let that enter your brain. We have to concentrate on this team coming up. Jarvis said it best. We can't play down to the competition this week. We need to play to the Bama standard. If we go out there sleep, brother, this is an SEC West game. And they did play Ole Miss just about as well as we did. Not quite, obviously, but outside of us in Tulane, they played Ole Miss just as tough. So this game can get mixed. This game can get mixy if we don't take care of our business. If we go out there getting penalties, jumping off sides, and 3 and out. This game can get mixy, and we'll put our defense in a horrible situation, just like Coach Jay just said. So we need to go out. I'm going to say this. I'm going to take the other side of it, guys. I don't know if I trust this team to come out and dominate after this Texas A&M game. I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know yet. I saw us against Mississippi State, and I was happy about that. I was utterly happy. I don't think we can't do it. I'm not against it. I'm just not sure yet. I need to see us come out there. I'll be sold this game. We had a huge win on the road. I need to see us come out and dominate this game. I want to see it. I want to see it. That's what great teams do. They don't come out and fall asleep and make it a fight and we're escaping by the hairs of our chin. Come out and dominate Arkansas. Come out and dominate them from the beginning. We're the better team. Come out and play like it. I need to see that. I don't really know yet, honestly. That's just me being honest.
And Coach Sean, I get exactly where you're coming from, because this is Arkansas and it's in the noon. It's at noon. You know what I'm saying?
Mixy, tricky.
But the only thing that gives me confidence, man, and this always plays a key factor with our young teams. Playing at home, man. We see the stats when these guys are at home. It's just a different feel. You get to get that extra practice out there on Thursday on the game field. The Friday walkthroughs, you're out there. So you just at home. Your cleats are kind of settled in. Your ankles, everything is feeling good. The shadows from the wall behind the end zone are at the perfect depth perception for when you're looking over your shoulder for the ball. I mean, all those small things matter in games like this when you're talking about development of a young team. And you have to be you have to have been there in those type of moments to understand what I'm saying. And from the outside looking in, somebody be like, man, you really, yes, it does matter. I can tell you, playing at Troy University on that turf field, and catching 2 passes for 18 yards in my first games as a starter, and then going back my junior year, it was a difference because I had a different feel for playing on turf. I wasn't used to playing on turf. So it's different things that factor into these guys and their mentality. So I'm excited to see it, man. Shout out to Donna B. She said, one play, one game, and do their job. Trust the process. Donna B. Curious, longtime viewer, always in the chat. Shout out to you for your $5 super chat. Guys, as we tone this thing down, as we round it out, let's get into our predictions. Let's get into we already talked about key matchups on both sides of the ball. Let's highlight. Let's do the predictions and let's highlight our MVPs, offensive.
Before you do
and
that,
defensive.
Coach Mook, real quick, if I could, is that true? What Duke to go just said? 2020? Is it homecoming?
It's homecoming.
Yeah, Arkansas is homecoming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yes, sir. And that's another thing. I feel like these boys are up for it, Sean. Like this team is up for it. The early adversity, the ego checks that Saban did early in the season. Like this don't feel like that 21 season where Ajayi Hall was there and we was wondering why he wasn't on the field, and Tyler Harrell and all those guys, like where and egos were just running rapid in that locker room. I don't see that this year. So I got a different feel. And I'm like you, I trust them because of how we won A&M, but at the same time, this noon stuff and Arkansas and that culture, like I said, they might not be the best team athletically and skill wise, with the ratings, but that culture there, I like it. I like it. That's a culture that you kind of embrace and you respect as a competitor. You respect that. So I love that, man. Coach Jay, offensive MVP, defensive MVP, and score prediction. Well, score prediction, offensive, defensive.
Offense MVP, I'm gonna go with Jalen Murrow. I think Jalen Murrow is gonna have a big game. I think for the most part, again, this is going to be one of those games where I think you can take advantage of the receiving matchups. I think we've seen improvement by him the last 3 to 4 weeks, and I think that this is going to be the game where I think he's going to take full advantage of it. Defensive MVP, I'm gonna go with Chris Braswell. Chris Braswell has been tearing it up off the edge pretty much almost every single game. His draft stock is gonna. That's another player. He's gone. He's going to go to the NFL, and he's probably going to be a first-round pick. Hopefully, he can go to my Buffalo Bills because we need the edge presence after all my players literally went down.
Stop advocating. Stop advocating.
It is what it is for that. But no, I think he's going to have a really, really a big game. And then score prediction. I'm going to say that this is going to be a dominant performance. I hope that this is. I would, again, the win's a win at this point, but if you want to compete for a national title, you got to win this game. You got to put a Georgia, Kentucky type. You got to put on a Georgia performance like what they did against Kentucky. You got to blow them out and end this game in a hurry and put your second string in the game by the time we get to the fourth quarter. So I'm going to say 42-17 Alabama in that regard.
I like that. Jim, can I answer this panel real quick before you go, Coach Sean? Will we do the same? Will we do some run blocking this game? Man, look, I'm going to jump on Coach Sean's back with this one because that defensive front from Texas A&M is going to do that to everyone. They will have a sleeper game. Somebody will slip up and just have a abnormal game. But overall this season, they will, if they stay healthy, that defense will remain a top 10 rated defense statistically. Definitely top 5 in defending the run game. When you see the type of schedule that they have coming up, I think their weakness is in the secondary, and that's what we were able to kind of exploit. Not necessarily on a consistent basis on each level, but that deep pass game, they have problems covering the deep ball. So, run game though for us, I think we will see it. The run game was there. Their defense was just smothered, man. Like you said, they committed to doing a job, and they did it. They took away our run game and wanted us to beat them in the pass game, and we were able to accomplish that. So don't panic about the game. Don't panic about the run game. Coach Sean, prediction. I know you don't do score predictions, but give us a feel, and then offensive, defensive MVP.
I think my offensive MVP this game, I think Jace McClellan will have he'll have great opportunity and great carries this game. I think he'll have an opportunity to carry the ball a lot this time. I think we're going to go out and try to reestablish the run game. I think he'll have some opportunities. One of the running backs will have an opportunity to have a big day against this team. I'll go with Jay since he's pretty much our top ball carrier at the moment. I think he's my offensive MVP. My defensive MVP, I'm going to go with Trez Marshall on this one. I think with this team, Trez will have his best game. I think Trez will probably have anywhere from 9 to 12 tackles in this game. He'll get a lot of opportunity to go head up with Mr. Jefferson. I think those two guys will have a great game. And I don't really do scores, but I think I said 13 last week and we won by 6. With this team, I'll stick with 13. I'd say Bama by 13. I don't want to get too in the 48 to 10 and all that kind of stuff. I think Bama comes out, we win by 13, 14 points maybe, and hopefully we put a solid look together and hold those guys to a low number.
And yeah, and I'm gonna go based off my expectation. Offensive MVP, I think, like you said, somebody in the run game. We'll see a lot of explosive runs this game. Arkansas's interior run defense isn't what it was the past 2 or 3 years. They lost a lot of guys, Bumper Pool and that inside linebacker stuff. I think they still have the Hayden kid over at safety. I think he's still there. He's real solid in run support. But that 3-high look is going to get them in trouble. With Milroe being at home, seeing a similar look from Mississippi State defense, I think Milroe's going to be a lot more confident and comfortable being at home. So offensively, I think one of the running backs will create that comfortability by exploiting those differences in the run game and their run defense. Defensively, I'm not going to go with Marshall. I'm going to say Lawson. Yeah. I think Lawson is going to be tasked with the spying and the shadowing of KJ because if Marshall doesn't show that he can cover out of the backfield, be disciplined to keep his eye disciplined there and be in coverage early because he's been coming out with the first team, but we've been seeing Campbell finish the game. I think Campbell comes out and plays that support role, that weak side, very strong with Lawson. I think Lawson really shows he continues to up his draft stock this game, especially locking up KJ Jefferson and keeping him, under containment, under wraps, and not necessarily blowing him up because I don't think that's going to be a one-man job. I think it's going to be a lot of gang tackling on KJ, a lot of leg tackles. I pray, he end the game safe, but you got to be physical with that big guy, 250.
Yeah.
You ain't no arm tackling that. So we're going to definitely, I see the defensive line rotation being deep and Lawson being a guy that's going to win this game. Score prediction. I'm going to go with Alabama 48 and Arkansas, I'm giving them 13 because I don't believe in KJ's ability to get that pass game going with our pass rushing starting to surge at this point. And if we're able to get 4-man pressure consistently early in the game, I don't see him beating our coverage, being able to drop 6 guys in coverage and spy a guy and it's not a good day for you. And if we're getting pressure with 4 for any quarterback, I don't care, Drake May, Caleb Williams, if we're getting this Alabama defense this year with this talent is getting pressure with 4, it's going to be a bad day for any team. And that's my final thoughts. Let's get to the chat before we go.
Shout out to Eric D.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to William. Great.
My boy Ephraim said Bama by 14. He said he needed to start building some. Ed Kelly said we need to start building some swag. Man, I think we already ahead of that. I like everybody was complaining about Jermaine Burton and his antics, bro. I love it. I love that fire too. Because I love it too. We need that fire like we had with Tony Brown. You remember? And he just brought that fire. Yes, he would get a personal foul penalty, but he'll knock somebody's head off in the same play. You know what I'm saying?
Every top receiver in the National Football League does exactly what Jermaine Burton does. Every single receiver, top receiver.
You can do it when you're producing. When you're producing, celebrate. I don't see Coach Saban giving him crap for it.
Exactly. He feeling himself. Coach Saban know that kid is hot. He feeling himself. He understands you can't guard me. He knows he can get open. When you're overwhelmed with confidence like that, and you working your DB, that's how you feel. And when you catch the ball, you letting them know.
You let them know.
Yeah.
That's how you
Facts.
communicate. And we all, I think traditionally, the college football world as fans have faulted Coach Saban for riding one receiver. Man, with this team, you're gonna have multiple. You're gonna see multiple guys have that type of game this year. I see one for Bonds. I see one. I see Benson. This is the game. If we see a 250 plus yard passing game and a 100 plus yard rushing game from a back, this is the game I see it happening because I think Malik Benson starts to showcase what he's been able to do with this being a comfortable settling game for Jalen should be. I think Malik Benson finally starts to emerge and we start to see that triple B movement, that Bonds, Burton, and Benson movement we've been waiting for. So I'm excited, man. He said, I want my players to think that they're the best, that they are the best. That's why they came to Alabama. William, 100%. 100%. But you got to prove it on the field. You got to go out there and do it, and that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, y'all. Coach Sean, you was laughing about that Saturday after the game. Your boy Braswell celebration dance. Them hips, boy. That's what how them boys get to that quarterback, boy. Them boys.
This team, bro. Listen, and it's not just our team. The celebrations today, they weak. Bro, go back and watch Devontae Smith and Henry Ruggs. They celebration that under the leg dunking together.
Yes.
You even got NFL dudes copying that.
Right.
Them dudes was different, bro. We had Smitty.
You remember the Crimson Crane, bro?
Them dudes was
still
different.
doing that. Come on, man.
They was different.
I don't like the little Jermaine Burton them crowd. That's whack, bro.
Somebody gonna say something about that sooner or later.
By the time we get to the national championship and y'all seeing it here first,
somebody gonna say something about that.
Somebody gonna say something only because of who's doing it.
Somebody gonna say something.
Only because of who's doing it. Now, I guarantee you, nope, we're not gonna talk about that. But anyways, I love the swag. I love the energy, guys. The personal fouls, as long as it's not costing us, I'm feeling it. Some of these plays, I like the fact that Malachi Moore got back in Max Johnson brother Jake Johnson face. I like the fact he got there. It was like you just got lucky. That's what he told him. You got lucky, and they didn't score another touchdown. After that. So I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy for this swag, this energy. Somebody else said it. You could see the energy on the sideline. I could see it, man.
Facts, Keenabina.
Yes, sir. Fats Coach Sean love the rules.
I miss them boys, man. Bad.
The ride outs. Yeah. Hey, and the thing is, I see the potential for this group to be the same type of group. We got multiple backs in that backfield that come out the backfield and catch the ball. Roydell Williams has definitely improved in that aspect. And we knew Jace McClellan already had it. I'm so ready to see justice, though. I cannot lie.
Did y'all, Jameson Williams, this was last year, when everybody was doing that, does Jalen claim Alabama or Oklahoma? They brought up Jameson Williams. And Jameson Williams, he tweeted, he said, Ohio State taught me how to play receiver. Okay, but they didn't play me. Alabama taught me how to get open, and they did play me.
Yeah.
I said, okay.
And he did that with Bill O'Brien, y'all.
Yeah.
Like that's
J-Mo was
he was different, bro. You know what's crazy, y'all? We didn't get to talk about it much, and we're gonna end the show on this. Just this thought with the chat. I see this kid Jalen Hill getting all these reps, man. How many times, Coach J, you highlighted it in the show? How many times did this kid get looked off? The moment he started getting that ball in his hand, getting the feel for how to move after the catch, it's gonna be different.
Yep.
I mean, it's gonna be different.
I'm telling you, man, he was wide open 2 times. I mean, he wasn't the primary read, but he was wide open underneath twice when they were running that blitz, and Jalen Hill just waving his arms, just begging to just throw. I'm right here. Give me it. This is 15 yards easily. 15 yards easily.
Don J with the super chat, 199. Bonds moves like Waddle. I will say this, and y'all might get at me for this, but
do it, man. Do it.
I'm gonna do it. I got to because I've been feeling it. His route running at this level, his sophomore year, is better than Waddle's route running at his sophomore year. I would say that. I don't know. The thing was,
Waddle was different.
It was that speed, bro. Waddle will beat people off. No matter, you could put a bracket coverage. He's running past them. He had other receivers to kind of build off, and he had Tua. He had Mac. Like he had quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Passing quarterbacks.
Before we go, do you guys remember? I think it was against Arkansas. Was it against Arkansas?
Yeah, I know what you about to break
When they
up.
almost took his head off on the punt return, they face masked him.
Mm-hmm.
And that cat ran about 60 yards, man, down the
Oh,
sideline.
LSU.
Hey,
Gone.
see,
Okay, yeah,
hey,
LSU,
my boy
LSU.
Chief,
That was
my
a
boy
90-yard
Chief,
punt return.
my boy
Facts.
Chief in the chat. He know I come with the hot takes, man. Y'all know, and then y'all know what's crazy? Don't come in here 3 weeks from now when he done bust a 300-yard receiving game because he just freaking burning somebody because they want to play zero. You know what I'm saying? Because they
That boy
sure didn't want to
Waddle,
get. They
He's
was at
got
my
that
neck
ability,
about
man.
Burton.
bro.
I'm telling you, man, one of the nastiest routes. This was during Jalen Waddle's. I think this was his freshman year. I think it was a
Auburn.
deep out.
The Auburn. Yep.
No. This was LSU. This is 2018 when
Ah.
Tua was here. When Tua was our starting quarterback, it was a deep out against Christian Fulton, and he killed him, broke his ankles and everything, and he had a 2-tap. Wasn't the 1-tap. He hit the 2-tap down the sideline with both feet, and then he stared at. This was Jalen Waddle's signature when he was doing this.
Yeah.
That little shoulder rub.
Yeah.
Right to Christian. And Christian Fulton was I think was a borderline first round talent. Christian Fulton said after the game, said, he got me.
He's different. I remember that. I want y'all to think about this, though. Go look at every pass route Isaiah Bonds was on this Texas A&M game. And then it's going to make you want to go back and see, has he been doing this all season? Go look at him in Memphis, Tennessee State game and this game. Nobody's holding this kid, man. I've seen Jermaine Burton get jammed up at the line. When they walk down, I've seen Kendrick Law happening to him, get kind of embarrassed. I have yet to see Isaiah Bonds get embarrassed, y'all. And he's lined up on the perimeter. He's lined up in the slot. I mean, I haven't seen it. And the way he gets in and out of his cuts is Waddle-like. But to be doing it at this level, at that consistent level, I mean, I don't know. I may be going.
That Auburn game from Jalen Waddle.
I already know, man. I'm a Waddle
fan. That cat jumped like a 42-inch vertical and just give me the ball.
And he wasn't getting targets, man. He got like 50 targets that year, and I'm like, why? Like, he got all these receivers, but why?
He was different. I might have overstepped on that because I'm going back to even before he got hurt in the Tennessee game. That took him out for the rest of the season where he came in against Georgia. Like, bro was cooking that season. Like, we weren't talking about Smitty for real until Waddle went down. And Smitty
I will say this though, people forget even when Jared Jeudy was here, Devontae Smith
was he was the leader in
passing yards.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
It was his touchdown to reception ratio was the highest on the team.
Yeah,
because at one point he had more touchdowns than he had. For every reception he had a touchdown. So he had 7 receptions for 7 touchdowns, 6 games into the season. It was crazy. I was like,
crazy, man.
This is how different Jalen Waddle was. Jalen Waddle was the 4th receiver that guy. I think a total of he had 60 targets that year, which was the lowest out of any Bama receiver in 20. It's during his freshman year. Yet he finished second on the team on receiving yards because his yards per catch average was higher. It was it was 20 yards per catch.
Look, I just want to get y'all thinking, man, because Bonds has that potential, bro. Like, I see a lot of, like the comment said, I see a lot of Waddle and Bonds. Maybe not that same explosiveness with the speed, but the route running, the shiftiness, the sure hands, the ability to go up, get it at his size. No, like, I don't think people realize how aggressive Bonds is attacking the ball, which is a tremendous increase from last year. When we saw some of the drops where he was kind of waiting on the ball, but he's attacking the ball. That whole wide receiver room is just improved.
It's really good, man. That's a very good receiver room.
Yeah, and y'all probably going to hear Kyle talk about it, but a lot of y'all probably wondering what happened with Ja'Cory Brooks. So tune into Kyle's content coming up this week. And I think he's going to dive deep into what's happening with Ja'Cory Brooks and what he's seeing and, kind of conversations we're having outside of the show. But with that being said, man, I'm going to toss it to Coach Jay. And Coach Jay, you're going to toss it to Coach Sean. Coach Sean, I'll round it out. We're going to tell everybody where they can find us at. And before I pass to Coach Jay, everybody hashtag get Coach Sean a Twitter. Go, Coach Jay.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Jants or X, whatever you want to call it, Jants Jants 716. And then we gotta get Coach on Twitter, man. I'm telling you, we gotta get him popping. But also YouTube, Jants Sports, also cover Bama content there as well, more of an uncut, reactionary type version, right? This is the live streams. Calm me down because I was ready to go off a little bit too. But you find me there on Jants Sports. Now, Coach Sean, where can we find you, man? And when can we get that Twitter?
You guys can find me right here on Bama football on YouTube with Kyle and the guys. The guys have been on me about this, the Twitter. So I'm gonna have to create the thing and hope you guys will tap in with me because I don't know absolutely nothing about social media for real. I don't do it. And but my two brothers right here are gonna help me out, man, and get this thing going.
Hashtag get Sean Twitter, everybody. We got to start the movement right now. We missing some gems. You missing out on some gems on Twitter, man. You would definitely make some impact. But yeah, y'all already know y'all can find your boy Coach Smook at Coach Smook on every platform. Gaming content creator, fan analyst. You know they're calling your boy analyst now. They're actually referring to all of us as analysts. I saw somebody say them analysts on football, Bama football on YouTube. We are Miro riders or whatever they want to call us. Oh well, thank you for noticing us. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the recognition. Shout out to Kyle Henderson, man, with this platform, Bama Football on YouTube. We definitely appreciate it, man. We do not take it for granted. Shout out to every fan that shows up, every follower that shows up, every subscriber that shows up every week for these shows, man, and reacts to this content. Don't forget to drop a like on your way out. And if you are not a subscriber, we have 173 in the chat. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe, man. This is a great channel for Bama football content. And don't forget to check out Bleacher Report, guys. We got to get active on Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report is about to be the new wave. It's going to bring similar aspect, but it has a lot more interactive aspect for the fan engagement and the chat and things of that nature. So don't forget to start checking out Kyle's content on Bleacher Report. I'm over there. These guys are going to be over there soon. So it's about to get active, y'all. We appreciate y'all. And with that being said, man, shout out to the chat. Roll Tide, man.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.